Today we're making something so simple and so classic that it almost seems silly, but still you might want to know how to do it. Easy, fluffy pancakes. This is my go-to pancake recipe. It's the only one I make. Never buy a yellow box again when you can make them from scratch. You're not going to want to miss it. Hey everyone, it's Dorothy with crazyforcrust.com and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make my favorite fluffy pancake recipe. This is super simple. You can totally make them from scratch, almost easier than using a mix. I swear, this is so simple. You're gonna love them. And I'm gonna give you some ideas for how to doctor them up to make new, fun flavor of pancakes. For more delicious desserts and easy recipes, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Now let's get in the kitchen. I'm starting off with 1 cup of all-purpose flour, and to that I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, along with half of a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So these pancakes are super fluffy because of a combination of baking powder, baking soda, and buttermilk. The acid in the buttermilk, the sourness, is what activates that baking soda, and together the baking soda and the baking powder make them nice and fluffy. So if you don't have buttermilk in your fridge, which whoever does unless you remember to buy it, you can make your own. The recipe calls for 1 cup of buttermilk, so what I do is I add 1 teaspoon of vinegar or lemon juice to a measuring cup, and then I fill it to 1 cup with milk, let it sit for 5 minutes, and boom, you have buttermilk. Then I've added 1 large egg, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, or you could use melted butter. And then you're going to add 1 cup of buttermilk. Again, you can make your own or use a store-bought buttermilk. Now, make sure that you have your griddle preheated right as soon when you're mixing the batter for these pancakes, because once that buttermilk and the baking soda interact, they're going to cause a chemical reaction that happens right away. So you want to get cooking these immediately. Now, a tip that my mom told me is to see if water dances on the pan. And if it does, that's how you know your pan is hot enough. Go ahead and ladle in your pancakes. For this, I'm using about 1/4 of a cup per pancake, but you can make them any size that you want. You can spray your pan with cooking spray if that's needed. It just depends on your pan. Now, my mom taught me this trick. When you flip pancakes, before you flip the pancake, you know it needs to be flipped when all the bubbles start to rise and then they start to pop. That's when it's time to flip the pancakes. Once you flip your pancake, you can watch it rise. It gets nice and fluffy. Just let it cook less than a minute on that side. It'll be nice and done. Take it off the heat and start again with your next pancake. Now, pancakes are a blank slate. We love these with maple syrup, of course, because who doesn't love maple syrup? But you could also totally change up these pancakes. You can add blueberries or other fruit. You can add chocolate chips. One of my favorite things to do is add sprinkles to the pancakes. When my daughter was little, I would add sprinkles to the pancakes, and that's how I could get her to eat them without syrup because of all that sugar. We didn't want her to have it. Sprinkle pancakes are still a favorite, plus they're fun to look at. Pancakes are super easy. I know you're never gonna make a box again once you've tried this pancake recipe. Leave me a comment and let me know what flavors you're gonna add to your pancake, and keep watching for more breakfast recipes.